On every winning team, the talent level is top notch and the expectation levels are high. A player must identify and understand where they can contribute best. Trevon Jenifer not only accepts, but seemingly embraces his role as a tenacious defender. Welcome, Trevon.
Hey Bob, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
I hope it's okay to call you Trey. I see that you pretty much put that out everywhere, man.
Absolutely. Trayvon's more like when I'm in trouble with my mom, when she's
Yeah,
yelling at
yeah.
me some way.
Yeah, that's when I'm a Robert too, but yeah. Hey man, first off, quick quote. You said in one of your interviews that the sky's the limit for Team USA and the biggest competition is yourselves. And it truly was, because you're coming back and you're going for the three-peat, which you ultimately did. But go ahead and explain that a little bit further.
Yeah, so like one of the biggest things that we knew is that like we had a lot of talent on our team, top to bottom. We have a lot of veteran experience, even with the five first timers that we had. And with all of that talent, we knew that, we're gonna get everyone's A game, every game that we played. And so all that time that we put in training, it didn't matter at the end of the day. What mattered is what our effort was that we put out there. So if we put a lackadaisical effort out there on the floor, we're only affecting ourselves. We knew that the things that we needed to control was within our own grasp, right? We had goals that we wanted to hit. We were able to hit those goals, and we kept each other accountable along that way. And I think that's what kind of helped us get to the point that we played, GB in the gold medal game and was able to take home the gold medal.
Yeah, ultimately the team was very deep. You brought back a lot of players. You brought back Jake Williams, Brian Bell, Steve Serio, and more. But Coach Rob Taylor, he'd been around for quite some time. He played with you. He was your coach in Tokyo, came back for 2024. I'm just kind of curious, before we talk about the tournament, what was the difference between Coach Rob Taylor and your previous coach? And what was it that he brought to the table that maybe changed the complexity of the team and made it better or different?
Yeah, I think they're two completely different coaches, and the way that they approach the game. I think
Ron Likas was your previous coach.
Ron Likens, yeah, and what's awesome about Ron Likens is, for me, he unlocked a side of basketball that I didn't really buy into, which was the mental health side of basketball, being able to stay mentally focused at all times and not being able to ride the waves up and down. But where I would say that like Ron is definitely more animated, you can definitely see that Rob Taylor is like calm, cool, and collective demeanor wise on the sideline, and it's awesome, man. To be honest, I mean, the awesome thing is that you come from two different individuals, but they're from the same book almost. So like we kind of understood where everyone stood at every point in the game. Those are two heck of coaches that I've played for. They know the game really, really well, and I honestly believe they unlocked the potential that our team had as a whole.
Trey, I want to talk about your defense, because it seems like, that's something you're very prideful of. Aspects of being a really good defender. Is it learning to box out? Is it instinctual? Is it speed? What is it that you feel like you have to do, and what are the things that you worked on within the confines of your game to bring that game to a top level?
I think it's twofold. Like, I think one of the things you mentioned was being able to be fast, right? And being able to guard above your classification. In our system, you have one all the way up to a 4-5. So being able to guard someone that's me being a 2-5, that's a 4-4-5 is really instrumental to what we do on the defensive side. And I attest a lot of that to my ability to be fast, be quick, and get to where I need to be. But I also think it's a mentality as well, right? Being able to be intense, because I am a firm believer that like sometimes our team is driven based on the intensity that we put out there on the floor. When Jake hits a three on the offensive end, we get hype. When we get a steal or a defensive stop or a block on the defensive end, our team gets hype. So like, it's about bringing the intensity to the game, and I think that's what we do on the defensive end.
Yeah, and speaking of defense, in my research, what I discovered was basically that you had a total of 33 rebounds, of which 26 of those were on the defensive side of the floor. So consequently, I mean, what this adds up to is that you were pretty attentive when you were in the box down on the other side of the court.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's just a testament to how we play our defensive scheme. You know, one of the things that we focus on is making sure that the number one doesn't get as many shots. And it's just so happened that we get out there, we box out, capture that ball, and we get going in our offensive end. We know how important it is to limit their shot selections or good shot selections for them, but also securing the rebound so that way that we can transition to the offensive side of the ball where we know that we have multiple threats that are able to score.
So you already mentioned you were a 2-5, which is basically a mid-level player. How is it that you focus on being able to play against a 4 or a 4-5, bigger, stronger, faster? What are the things you have to focus on as a 2-5 in order to be able to play against or with them?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing that I focus on is controlling my job, doing my job. And one of my jobs is taking responsibility for what I have, the person in front of me, but also understanding that I have, you know, backside help wherever I am, or I'm giving frontside help to wherever I'm going. As much as like people like to think that like it's a lot of one-on-one defense, actually it's one-on-one defense within a team construct, right? So like if I'm over here, I'm solely worried about my guy and not worried about my teammate's guy, or understanding where I can be helped, like it hurts the team. So it's a team concept and what we're trying to do. So yes, I'm playing one-on-one defense with the person I'm guarding, but realistically, it's like 2-on-2 defense with the person I'm playing defense on our side, and ultimately 5-on-5 defense when we're playing together as a whole.
Looking at the tourney, Trey, it just seemed like, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not saying, oh, well, not unfortunately, great for you guys. I mean, you rolled right into the gold. It was in the opening rounds, it was pretty much a walkover. You guys were plowing through teams. And even as I look into the semifinals, USA v Canada, 80-43, another walkover. Semifinals, you know, it wasn't necessarily it was once again, actually a semi was against Canada. And you played, as I noticed that as the tourney went on, you were actually playing more minutes. The final two games, the semi and the final, you played 40 minutes. You played the entire game. Is that pretty tough?
Oh yeah, I think that it's physically and mentally draining. I mean, and just to go back on what you were saying there for a second, I think that like if you actually look at the box score, like in the final result, those results show a completely different picture from what we were in the game. A lot of those games are battles up into the third and the fourth quarter where we were able to withstand their blows and pull away later in the game. I vividly remember, you know, playing Spain pretty tough for a couple of quarters, and then we were able to pull away a little bit. But I think that, yeah, it becomes tough, especially when you get into the later aspects of the tournament, right? Now we're talking about game 5 and game 6, in which I'm playing 40 minutes. But ultimately, we trained 4 years to be in this spot right now. That's the whole purpose that we had our strength and conditioning coaches, the whole reason that we push each other in practices, so that way that we're ready to be tested in that moment. And I think it's a true testament to our program getting us ready from the end of Tokyo leading into Paris here. And I just hats off to our guys. I mean, I can't thank them enough. I know it's easy to say, hey, Trey played 40 minutes, but like honestly, it's the guys behind me that got me ready to be there in this situation where we were able to play 40 minutes and win those games.
So Trey, it comes down to the final, and here you are. You're going to go up against GB. Both of you come in, you know, undefeated. You haven't seen each other, so there's a little bit of mystery. You were gold on the podium. They were bronze on the podium in the last Paralympics in Tokyo. So you knew you were going to have a fight on your hands, and it truly was. They kept that game really tight. How did you guys focus and adjust to what was going to happen in a game where you hadn't seen another team up to that point, the final?
So like us and GB have a great history of playing each other. I remember in 2018 we lost to GB at World Championships, and then in 2020 it would have been three at that point. In the summer of 2023, we beat GB in the World Championships in Dubai. So we kind of know both teams in and out because we've seen them at some sort of level. But we knew that if we stuck to our game plan, that we would have a good chance at winning. It was just making sure that our guys understood that, and it was a reminder of where we needed to be at on that floor. We knew that we needed to keep Lee Manning out, which is their big guy, because if he gets in the paint, we didn't have anyone that can contest with them. We know that they have really good shooters out there on the floor, but if we could limit their good shot selections to okay shot selections or bad shot selections, we knew that we would be in a good spot. Um, One of the things that I think our coaching staff did a really good job of is making sure that we understood that this was going to be a 40-minute game. It wasn't going to be one shot that was going to win that game in the first quarter. It's small chip aways, win one possession at a time, and then ultimately, if we win enough possessions, we're going to be able to win that game. And I think that's what kept our guys kind of ready to play and ready to go walk away with that W.
And in that game, you played the entire game, the whole 40 minutes. You scored 14 points. You had 7 rebounds. 5 of those were defensive rebounds. So consequently, I mean, what I'm seeing, the big picture is that you were really, as the tourney was going on, not only developing within your role, but actually improving upon it and really understanding exactly where you needed to be and what you needed to do.
Absolutely, and I think that that's a true testament to the playing style that we have, and playing with Jake and Brian and Steve and Nate and some of these guys for so many years that it becomes second nature. You understand what you're doing, and you don't even realize that you're doing it sometimes. When we're talking to a sports psychologist, they talk about flow state. And I honestly felt like in that gold medal game, we were in a position where we were just in flow state. Everything just felt good. Um, it was still a battle, don't get me wrong, but like when things are clicking the way that they are, like you feel good at what the outcome will be while you're playing that game.
So in the fourth quarter, GB comes back, and it's the only quarter where they outscore you. They outscore you 26-20, but I wouldn't say the game was completely out of hand because it was so close at the end, 73-69. But you still had to start feeling a little bit of pressure. They were coming on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I think we had 3.5 minutes left, or somewhere between the 5 minute mark and the 3.5 minute mark. We're plus 10, and we're going down. One of our better players, he fouls out, and then we have to make a substitution. In the midst of all of this, we're at some point we're less than a minute left, and we're up, I think 6 or so, and Terry Bywater comes off the bench and he hits a deep 3 ball that goes in. So like it's all of these things happening at once, right? And you just know that like you just got to stay in the moment right then and there. There's nothing that you can change that's already happened. It's about controlling the variables that you know in this time. And I think that our guys' composure in this, in front of 13,000 fans, is a true testament to like what we built up to this point. And I think that it's a phenomenal feeling because after the game, I mean, like you could see it on our faces. Like it was just a sigh of relief knowing that we were able to execute our game plan to the best of our abilities.
Well, undoubtedly, and you come away with the gold, third time, first team in 46 years of what they consider to be the Paralympics, even though the true first Paralympics was 88. Nonetheless, over the 46-year history of basketball, first team to come away with a three-peat. You have to feel truly proud about that.
Yeah, I mean, we just, we etched our name in history, and I think that that was like um, something that was in the back of our mind that a lot of times you got interviewed, that's what everyone was bringing up, right? But we understood that the mindset was like one game at a time. Um, it doesn't really hit you until after the game is over. You got that medal around your neck and your flag is going up there and you're hearing that national anthem. You get goosebumps and you know that like you've done something, you're a part of something, a part of a team that hasn't been done before. And it will forever be noted that in 2024 men's USA team basketball, wheelchair basketball team was the first team in history to three-peat. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. Not only that, I'm proud to have celebrated it with my brothers that I've battled with, and I'm proud to have celebrated that with my family that were able to come out in pairs. It was a glorious moment, and I'm just excited that I was able to be a part of that.
Trey, you have a lot of responsibilities in life. You've got a job, you've got a family, you've devoted a lot of time to basketball. You've got 3 gold medals now. Expectations for LA 2028. You coming back to play one more time at 40 years old?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I think one of the things that you hit on is being tired. You know, I was physically and mentally drained after the tournament. I remember just laying in bed with my wife and just being like, oh, I'm so exhausted. We're gonna take some time. Like you said, I'll be 40 then. My body's beat up now at 36. So we're gonna let it recover a little bit, enjoy some vacation and family time, and then we'll be able to recalibrate what we're gonna be doing in the next 4 years.
Really proud of what you guys accomplished. He's a 3-time gold medalist. Trey, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate this.